can't read what this says. Please, show me your prescription.
Kenapa? Karena ini kali ya, udah jarang main.
Malah ke spill mbak sebelah. Ya kali ya. Nah, mending kalau Paimon kan udah ini. Kita Keqing aja langsung dah. Ayo kita dengarkan Yappingan.
I am Keqing, Yuhung of the Liya Qixing. We live in an era of change, as the old order that has existed for 1,000 years is about to be rewritten. Join me. Let us bear witness to this historical moment together. Come on, enough procrastinating. Let's go. I'm all for work-life balance, but I think this is pushing it. In adventuring, as in business, you always have to seize the opportunity while it's there. Quite a downpour. Nothing will get done until it clears. Let this be a lesson to those who yesterday said I'll do it tomorrow. Thunder and lightning can be quite frightening, but don't worry. Liyue's storm and fire defenses are second to none. Don't worry. Snowfall on this scale is no impediment. We can keep moving. Ah, the sun is out. Our work's done for the day. Shall we take a stroll? If you feel strongly about something, you should speak up and take action. That's the philosophy I live by. My role is to manage real estate and construction in Liyue. Sure, Liyue is a vast place with abundant resources. But without proper planning, and if too much focus is placed on short-term profit, a great many things can go wrong. What do you think has kept Liyue going over the last millennium? Rex Lapis? I disagree. We mortals have to fight for survival whatever happens. He just feels the need to come down here and poke his nose into everything that's going on for some reason. People don't like to think about this, but should we really be trusting him to be an expert in everything? After I took on the management of so many of Liyue's affairs, I had a newfound respect for Rex Lapis and all his hard work over the last millennium. Recently, every time I come up against a difficult problem with no obvious solution, I find myself thinking, what would Rex Lapis do? Maybe he really is an expert in everything, and I've got more left to learn than I realized. You know why I like you? It's because you don't believe something just because it was said by a god. You make up your own mind. You ask the questions everyone else is too cowardly to ask, and when you don't get an answer, you keep looking till you find one. Oh, don't worry. Your way is definitely the right way. Who says gods don't make mistakes anyway? It's not difficult, you'll see. Just give it a try. What if you try and it doesn't work out? No, I don't believe that will happen. You've never let me down before. You don't seem the type. I used to be so naive. I genuinely believed I was on par with Rex Lapis. Seems I really overestimated myself. Yes. You're right. I have plenty of self-confidence in other areas, so why not in this? I can catch up with him. I will catch up with him. I just need to keep my chin up, keep trying, and keep learning. If a vision means the approval of the gods, then I don't see why I should want one. In fact, I find it quite insulting. It's like trying to say everything I've ever achieved is all thanks to the gods looking out for me. Well, I got to where I am today through my own hard work. The gods had nothing to do with it. Oh, so Rex Lapis wanted me to have power beyond the average mortal so that I can be a great leader? Huh. I like to think I do an admirable job even without his blessing. Yeah, I'll show him. I won't give him any reason to be disappointed with me.
Oke, itu dulu. Partin. Biar bisa menikmati yappingan Keqing saat akhir.
Let's finish this quickly.
We may leave at any time.
Sampai mana ya? Indonesia.
In addition to my work with the Liu Qixing, I do a lot of work for the public too. Mostly the feedback is positive, but whenever I propose something like adding an extra hour to the workday, I come up against very strong resistance. I'm too forward-thinking, I suppose. Maybe I should start with a half hour instead. What do you mean, Geo-Archon paraphernalia? You're not suggesting my bedroom is full of that stuff, surely? I'm not a child anymore. Although... Okay, I did buy a couple of Rex Lapis figurines recently, but they're just to keep me on the straight and narrow. Look, just because I own an idol or two does not mean I idolize him, okay? I once heard a Mondstadt fable about courage being what it takes for birds to learn to fly. But I think you must first possess a yearning for the boundless skies before you would have any inclination, let alone the courage, to spread your wings and try to fly. For me, Liyue is that boundless sky. You want to know more about me? Sure. Let's start with the principles that are central to the role of Yuheng. Once you've memorized the 100 or more contractual obligations of the position, you'll know my hopes and dreams like the back of your hand. Nothing exists independently, and there's nothing you can do to change that. So, when you drag your heels on one thing, you're actually causing chaos for a whole bunch of other connected issues too. That's why I firmly believe you should never put off until tomorrow what you can do today. I'm also a very impatient person and can't stand procrastinating, so that's also part of it. Never mince your words with me, okay? Yuheng's just a title. I'll not have you treading on eggshells around me just because of my status. Say what's on your mind, always. That's what makes you unique, and it's the thing I admire about you the most. We've been on our fair share of adventures together, haven't we? The more time we spend together, the more I think that you're the person of my dreams and... Huh? Why so shocked? You're a crucial part of my dreams for the new Liyue. The time has come for humanity to make its mark in the land of the Geo-Archon. Turns out that was quite an ambitious statement after all. But I want you to make me a promise. Come and visit when the new Liyue harbor is born. I will show you around. After all the help and support you've given me along the way, you deserve to see Liyue reborn with your own eyes. I owe you that much.
Sumpah ini tuh yang buat ini tuh cuman kalau gue lagi doang.
That indulgent feeling of being spoilt for choice between countless different varieties. That to me is the appeal of shopping.
Shopping, hobinya shopping, alamat uang habis.
It's great that the quality of life in Liyue is improving for everyone. But one downside is the growing number of people who are happy to reap the rewards without doing their fair share of the work. The Liyue Keqing did not put in all this effort to create a more prosperous society just so people like them can loaf around. It makes no logical sense to be greedy with food. But for me, all rationality goes out the window when there's golden shrimp balls involved. They're just irresistible. The taste of a single golden shrimp ball brings me so much joy that all the stress of work just melts away. Everything has a certain way it should taste. I won't touch anything that tries to break the mold, so no salted almond tofu for me. And no sweetened lotus seed and bird egg soup either. It's just a total waste of perfectly good ingredients. When your heart is set on something, you get closer to your goal with each passing day. Great. Having another trick up my sleeve gives me more flexibility in rapidly changing circumstances. Yesterday's experiences make me stronger today. And most of those experiences are ones that I share with you. I feel I have grown immensely from my travels with you. If, one day, I finally manage to make my dreams a reality, I wonder, will you still be there by my side?
Harus dong. Harus diragukan lagi.
The gentleman from the Wangsheng funeral parlor? Clearly he's an extremely learned individual, and I do have a lot of respect for him. But his mindset is too traditional for me. He thinks in the same tired old terms as Rex Lapis did. If he were more of an original thinker, I'm sure he'd be a great asset to me in reaching my objectives.
Yang laki-laki. Atasnya laki-laki bro. Sama yang kayak gitu bagus.
Everyone has faith in Dr. Baiju's medical skills. He's the right guy to go to when you can't figure out what's wrong with you. Oh, the rumors you say? The only one that I know for a fact is true is how disgusting his medicine tastes. It's not just the kids who find it bitter. It's left me with some horrible memories too. I've heard his story. He was born into a well-to-do family, but wasn't keen on the family business. So he now devotes his time to being an envoy of justice. I have huge respect for that. Not everyone has the guts to follow their dreams when it means breaking with the long-standing family tradition. I feel like now that we live in the age of mankind's rule, it's time for the legendary boy Adeptus to be released from duty. We no longer need a defender of that kind, because we are capable of working through the challenges we face on our own strength. That captain is always flouting the rules. and her personality really rubs people the wrong way. That said, the Crux fleet is indispensable to Liyue Harbor. It's a bit of an art, knowing when to enforce the rules and when it's in everyone's interest to be more lenient. Thing is, the Tianquan is supposed to be the one enforcing the rules, but she always seems to be too busy. Yeah, the up-and-coming chef from Wanmin restaurant. I get that she's gifted and everything. I just think her cooking can be a bit hit or miss. I was all ready to hire her for a small banquet once and give her full control over the menu. But the amount of lizard and slime in her sample dishes quickly turned me off that idea. Since Rex Lapis left us, the question of Liyue's future has been on my mind constantly. In addition to reviewing his own past deeds, I've been researching the other Archon's modes of governance too. Mondstadt's god is the one who baffles me the most, though. How exactly do any of his actions contribute to the longevity of Mondstadt? It's completely beyond me.
Bingung. Sama.
When you're passing by Huyu Tea House and have to squeeze your way through the biggest crowd you've seen in your life, that's when you know Yunjin's on stage performing. There's not a merchant in Liyue who wouldn't buy up the place if they had the chance, and Yunjin's the reason it would be worth every mora. The way I see it, the law is a summary of things done the right way in the past. However, it should also be continuously adapted and improved to match the needs of the present. Given that Liyue is about to undergo a radical transformation, legal talent is in great demand. With an assistant like Yanfei, I could spare myself a great deal of trouble. Who knows what Rex Lapis must have done to inspire such blind devotion from Ganyu. But her reluctance to be critical is not without its advantages. In the workplace, she'll carry out my instructions to the letter, even when I can tell she has her reservations. It's a good attitude to have as a career professional. I find myself getting a second opinion from her a lot these days. Lots of things come up that I just have no idea about. And of everyone in Liyue, she's probably the most familiar with Rex Lapis. I feel a bit awkward though, because I used to be openly disparaging of Rex Lapis in front of her. But she doesn't seem to mind, so I guess I've got nothing to worry about.
Tadi udah kan? lanjut lagi.
We do work together, but we couldn't be more opposite personality-wise. To her, Liyue Harbor is nothing more than a marketplace, and she'll do anything as long as it makes money for her. Doesn't she have any principles? Or maybe turning a profit is her principle. Since Rex Lapis left us, we've actually found some common ground. I was quite judgmental of her in the past, and we still fundamentally disagree on a number of issues. But in the current climate, I have to say I count her as a comrade in arms. Having said that, I ordered a Lucent Crescent from Mingxing Jewelry 3 months in advance, and when it was finally time to pick it up, they told me Ningguang had bought up the last few months' worth of Lucent Crescents for herself by paying double the price. She can be such a pain.
Lagi soal.
Miss Yelan's ancestors used to serve the Qixing. My grandfather and her family have had academic collaborations in the past. All in all, she's reliable, efficient, and provides important intel to the Ministry of Civil Affairs. I can't say for sure how Miss Yelan actually gets her intel, however.
Misteri. Wah, ini harus nunggu nanti voice actor ganti nih. Baru dah tuh ke ini. Explore tuh. Suara si layangan.
Yep, that's right. My favorite. The taste is fairly standard, but I can see you worked hard at it. It, seems quite a ways off from how it's supposed to taste. Happy birthday! I've got a very special gift for you. It might look like an ordinary old lantern, but this one runs on electro energy and stays alight for a really long time. For those times when you need a little extra light in your life. Incoming! Speed of light! Don't blink! Hey! Huh? Nowhere to hide. With sword comes shadow. Cut to the chase. You give, you receive. Not bad, as far as treasure is concerned. That's everything. On to the next.
On to the next.
One step back, 2 forward. Stronger than I thought. Change of plan. Take 5. I'll take over. Watch yourself. Right idea. Wrong time. I will not go quietly. Let down. I'll be fine. Got lucky that time. Let's go. Time is against us. Something's come up? Let's finish this quickly.
Balik lagi ke Yappingan Paimon. Selesai Yappingan si Keqing. Kita tinggal pagi, siang, malam sih. Itu nanti kayak bagian buat closingan deh. Kalau inget. Yappingan Paimon. Pulang dari trade aja.
Whoa! Healthcare is free in Sumeru?
Are you feeling unwell, Paimon?
No, not right now.
Absen jempol bang, siap bang. Absen aja udah
Eating
cukup
the
kok
street
bro.
food on
Makasih
every corner
makasih
has
mangkusai.
never sounded so tempting.
Your stomach is gonna punish you for that.
Pasti udah mampir bro, by the way, weng weng.
Paimon will go see a doctor and get treated. It's all for free.
Nih, gua lagi ngapain nih?
Not to take advantage of this, don't you
Lagi
think?
menikmati Yappingan.
Maybe, but then again, the treatment would likely include a restricted diet.
Oh no.
Oh
So
no,
no more
tidak.
delicious food then?
That, plus the doctor would make you take the most bitter-tasting medicine ever.
Oh, okay. Maybe Paimon needs to reconsider this idea.
Lagi menikmati Yappingan Paimon sebelum diganti nih. Nah kan si itu kan bakal diganti tuh duluan tuh sama Keqing. Kalau Keqing tadi udah selesai sih. Cuma paling tinggal good-nya yang apa tuh? Ya nanti bakal gua iniin pagi kalau inget. Ya kan gua kalau niat main gini bisa seharian. Lebih tepatnya dengerin doang sih. Yuk, lanjut lagi bro.
So many people in Sumeru want to become scholars. Motivated by this ambition, they all study really hard to try and achieve it. But Paimon bets that the first ever scholar didn't set out to become a scholar. So what do you think the first ever scholar's ambition was?
Probably to get their research paper written as quickly as possible.
Huh? But isn't a scholar's ultimate goal supposed to be pursuing the highest and greatest knowledge or something? Paimon's sure that it must have been because of a fervent desire for knowledge that they became Sumeru's first true scholar.
Writing papers is how you pursue knowledge.
But what about when it's the highest and greatest knowledge of all?
Even then, if you wanted to prove it, you'd need a research paper. And after that, you'd need to start working on another paper to validate your original thesis.
Okay, Paimon's got it. Come on, don't look so sad. It's not like
Kan
you
galau.
have to worry about writing papers yourself. You've never had to write a paper before, right?
go visit the Amorta scholars.
When did you become such an avid student, Paimon?
Well, Paimon heard that the Amorta scholars' research is all about nature. Which means they must have to research which animals are edible and which ones taste the best. And you know, that kind of thing. Paimon thinks it'd be really fun to help them out with their research.
In other words, you've got a craving for some tasty organic dishes.
No, Paimon genuinely thinks that it's a really meaningful research topic and wants to help out.
Well, in that case, I think the Amurta scholars might be more interested to find out about Paimon's species and behavioral patterns.
Gee, is that the time? Paimon just remembered we have something else more important to do.
Yep.
Sumpter bees are adorable. Paimon likes how the people who keep them give them each a special name based on their most distinctive traits.
For all we know, the Sumpter beast might be giving each of us a name in return. Maybe that's how they respond when we call their name.
Sama kayak baku
Really?
tadi.
So what kind of name do you think they'd give us?
Moo.
Mo.
How is anyone supposed to understand that?
A rough translation would be vociferous, pestiferous, maliculous, niveus, microbipedal. That's the scientific name, of course.
Oh? What would the common name be then?
Noisy two-legged critter.
Hey, why keep only the negative traits? There are 6 Darshans in Sumeru. Ooh, it would be cool if Paimon had her own Darshan too. It'll be called Paimonology.
What wisdom would Paimonology stand for?
Practical wisdom for everyday life.
So Paimonology scholars would specialize in the art of cooking slimes in 100 different ways, never letting a single Mora escape their grasp, giving people ugly nicknames, etc.?
Whoa, you read Paimon's mind! Also, don't forget how to become the best travel guide in Tibet. Oh, this is a fantastic idea! Come on, let's go submit a Darshan application to the Academia! From this day on, you'll be the Grand Sage of Paimonology!
I'd like to decline the honor, please.
Did you know that there are all kinds of strange shroomkin in Sumeru?
Oh yeah, here's a fun one. Legend has it there were some forest boars who couldn't live without mushrooms, and the two species gradually formed a symbiotic relationship with each other. Now they're known as shroom boars.
Whoa, that's a lot like us. Paimon can't live without you either.
If you can't live without me, that means I'm the shroom and Paimon's the...
Boar! Hey, wait a second! The residents of the Grand Bazaar are all so talented! They sell their own woven goods, beautiful vases and jars, and delicious-smelling spices that make Paimon's tummy start rumbling. And they all sing and dance really well. Paimon wishes she could do that.
Well, if you're serious about it, there's no reason you couldn't learn.
What? Really?
Well, for starters, you have a natural advantage when it comes to dancing. You won't trip over yourself, or accidentally step on someone else's foot.
Oh yeah! Paimon always forgets how useful flying can be. Alright then, let's go boost a move at the Grand Bazaar and watch everyone shower Paimon with admiration.
Aha. So that's what this is about.
Sumeru seem to take divination and fortune-telling pretty seriously. For starters, there's astrology, although only the scholars get to practice that. But ordinary citizens have their ways too. They can do divinations with just a cup of coffee.
It's the nation of wisdom, after all. It seems like people have an insatiable curiosity to learn about everything, including their own future.
Paimon heard that they can tell your fate just by looking at the bottom of a finished cup of coffee. Sounds way easier than climbing to the top of a tower and staring at the stars all night.
Oh, so you're interested in learning your fate now?
Yeah, although Paimon's really more interested in finding out what the coffee tastes like. Khadivan and Nisa kept talking about poor Biruni this and poor Sina that. Why do all these words have poor at the front?
Well, per means descendant, and also student. So in this case, they're referring to themselves as the children and students of the great sages of old.
Huh, so that's what it means. From the way they were throwing these words around, Paimon was sure it'd be something to be proud of.
Wait, but isn't it?
Well, Paimon for one would much rather be known as the founding father than have a name that basically says, so-and-so's my daddy. Pretty embarrassing, don't you think?
I have to admit, I've never thought about it like that.
Panjang sini. Yappingnya panjang banget.
It's not only Sumeru locals at the academia, huh? There are students from other nations too. Imagine leaving your hometown behind and traveling to a faraway and unfamiliar land in the pursuit of learning. How inspiring.
We travel to unfamiliar lands pretty often too.
Huh. You're right. That means we're also super inspiring.
Not in the pursuit of learning, though.
Oh, so we're not as inspiring as the students after all. But we do know the best places to eat in Sumeru and who you can rely on to help you out. That counts as knowledge, right?
Yeah, and to many people, it could be extremely valuable knowledge.
Great! So we're just as inspiring as them after all. The whole of Sumeru City is built on top of a giant tree. How amazing is that? We've seen lots of incredible trees on our journey, haven't we? There's our old stomping ground at Windrise, the frost-bearing tree on Dragonspine, and the sacred sakura on Inazuma. Sumeru's tree doesn't seem to have a fancy name, though. People just call it the Divine Tree.
Sometimes the most important things have the simplest names.
Really? Maybe you have a point. Long names would be kinda inconvenient if you had to say them every day. Anyway, people in the city only have to say down below, and everyone knows they mean the bottom of the tree. What's that saying again? Names aren't things themselves, they're just words for things.
So is Paimon just a word for a thing too?
Yeah! Kinda. But, wait, no!
But wait,
Paimon
Nona
is just
Nino.
Paimon.
Apa sih? Apa, bro? Suci.
So, with Sumeru having so many scholars in different darshans, do you think they end up arguing a lot? You know, just like the rivalry between Lee cuisine and Yue cuisine in Liyue.
I'm sure they do. Conflict between different schools of thought is the most normal thing ever. As the Liyue martial arts novels say, wherever there are people, there will be conflict.
Manusia ada perselisihan.
What a line! That's heavy. But the scholars in Sumeru probably don't duel like Liyue martial artists, right?
Maybe they settle things with a game of Genius Invocation, TCG.
Oh, good point! A duel of wits. Paimon can just imagine it. When one scholar can't convince another in an argument, he takes out his deck of cards, calmly sits down opposite his opponent, thinks for a moment, and then secures his victory!
That does sound like something that would happen in Sumeru.
The game ends, and the winner says, "Good game," as a sign of respect to his opponent. After that, both sides are back on good terms.
Saying that would probably only escalate the conflict.
Huh? Why? Whew! Port Ormos definitely has a different vibe to Sumeru City. It's a bustling area and there's so many Outlanders. Plus, no one needs to spend all their time buried in their studies, which is nice.
Yes, but that's why they end up being disciplined by the port authorities. So you see, Paimon, if you don't study hard, you'll end up just like them.
Oh. Wait, what was that tone of voice for? Port Ormos is built on the ruins of the fortress of the Alliance of the Alliance of something, anyway. The name's too long. Paimon can't remember it. Anyway, that's what all the bookish people in Sumeru say.
Oh, you mean the Alliance of the 29 Ocean Days? Apparently, the Alliance was formed by a bunch of arrogant pirate leaders, none of whom wanted to work for any of the others. They fought and looted each other constantly, causing endless chaos in coastal Sumeru. Finally, one day, they decided to enter into an alliance with one another and divide power equally between themselves. The members of the alliance were called Days.
Oh, and so after that, there was no more fighting and no more stealing, so everyone could get along happily and make a boatload of war together. Right? Right?
Well, presumably that's what they were hoping.
Huh?
Before long, they were forming factions again, and the infighting between them escalated into the biggest internal battle they'd seen yet. Their fortress at Port Ormos was completely destroyed, and all the Days were done for.
What?
Following that, an unprecedented period of peace finally came to Port Ormos, and the area began to develop into what we see today.
Huh. So the Alliance was just a bunch of dumb bad guys.
A bad guy.
Sino's super into that card game Genius Invocation TCG, isn't he? Doesn't it seem kind of weird for the General Mahamatra to be into playing cards?
Not when you consider his hairstyle.
Huh? What has his hairstyle got to do with it?
When you're playing a card game, the fancier your hairstyle, the more distracting it is for your opponent. What's going on with this guy? How did he manage to shape his hair like that? When your opponent's mind is consumed with thoughts like this, you'll quickly gain the upper hand.
Really? Then we better think twice before playing against him.
I don't know. I think I might just have an advantage over him.
But you don't have a fancy hairstyle at all. And your clothes look pretty normal, too.
But I do have Paimon. You know, he'd be like, what's up with this guy? And what's that pesky flying companion of his up to? As long as you're floating by my side, Sino's mind will be consumed with thoughts like this. I, on the other hand, would be completely unfazed by his hairstyle, so I'd be able to focus, and victory would be mine.
Forget it. If you want to play cards, go get a funny haircut.
Kok seperti mereferensikan sebelah ya? Parodiin sebelah. Tentang si Seno rambut kayak gitu juga. Sama.
Curry, curry in the air. Hungry children, it's time to come home.
Curry, curry in the air.
Wow, good job. So you remember the tune as well.
Good job to you too, Paimon. You sing really well.
That's because Paimon's got a great plan. Have you heard this story? Once upon a time, there was a hairy hound who was given meat to eat whenever the Sama churls started dancing. Eventually, the hairy hound started drooling whenever it heard the sound of dancing. Whenever we hear the curry song, we get curry to eat. So all Paimon has to do is learn the song by heart, and then in the future, whenever Paimon is craving a big bowl of tasty curry, all she has to do is sing it. Hey, aren't you gonna say something? Curry, curry in the air. Hungry children, it's time to come home.
Paimon, do you ever find that the word aranara trips you up?
Why does it trip you up? Maybe that's because you don't really say anything most of the time. Unlike Paimon, Paimon has to talk all the time, so she never gets stuck on words.
Okay, well, try reading this then.
What is it? Let's see here. Arana the Aranara exercises Arara Kalari in the nearby area. Narana the Nara picks Padisaras in a parallel area further afield. Narana the Padisara picking Nara had arranged to invite Arana the Aranara to the bar to befriend Lambad. But alas,
Lambat?
Arana the Arara Kalari exercising
Lambat.
Aranara professed a preference to Padisara picking Narana for venturing to Vanarana to view the panorama. On account of Arana the Aranara's antipathy to bar drama, Narana the Nara relented, and upon accompanying the latter on a Vanarana panorama adventure, encountered another Aranara named Arama. This must be one of those really weird dreams, right? But this headache feels pretty real.
Memang.
Paimon just thought of a great way to deal with Fontaine's prophesized crisis!
Okay, let's
Kayaknya
hear it.
sampai
You
Fontaine,
know those
Fontaine.
great big clockwork mecha they use for digging tunnels? Well, why not send them deep underwater and get them to dig a load of drainage holes? Then no one will have to worry about the water level rising anymore.
Sounds logical enough, but where do you think the water will go?
What does that matter? Think of it like a coin pouch. When there's a hole in it, what's the use in racking your brains trying to figure out where all the mora went? Because the fact is, a coin pouch with a hole wouldn't be able to hold it all anyway.
Well, I'd certainly like to know where all my mora goes, but from what you're saying, it doesn't sound like you keep track.
Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Paimon doesn't know where you... Paimon doesn't know where your mora goes.
Gimana itu? Sampai berarti gue maininnya nyampe Fontaine aja kali ya. Jadi kalau misalnya yang udah sampai Netral tuh satu kali tuh, nah udah selesai. Jadi gue nyampe ke bawah. Dengerin yappingannya itu loh, yapping.
Winnie's magic shows are amazing! Paimon never would have guessed how he did it before he revealed his secret.
Hold on. I just thought of a magic trick.
Huh? You know how to do magic too?
Yep. I can make a big magician's hat float in the air and even make it move at my command.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Simple. I put Paimon inside the hat.
What? Why would Paimon be... Oh, so Paimon's the one making it float. Oh, in that case, Paimon has an idea for an even better magic trick.
Huh? What is it?
Apa dah tuh?
The bottomless hat. No matter how many plates of delicious food you throw into it, it'll never get full.
Wait. So where would the plates go?
Oh, good point. Oh, the hat spits the empty plates back out. Ta-da! What do you think?
Sulap.
Fontaine's aquabuses are pretty cool. But imagine if they could run without tracks. Then you could go anywhere you want pretty much without having to move a muscle. Oh, traveling would be way less tiring.
But you already fly everywhere. Does that even get tiring?
Fly? Fly? Wait, that's it! If we could find a way to make the boats float in the air, then they wouldn't need reels anymore. Then we could call them airboats. Come on, let's go apply for one of those, oh yeah, patents. We can't let Paimon's genius go to waste. Quick, before
Jam
someone else
5.
beats us to it!
Patents don't work like that. You can't just have a name for your invention. You also need to provide details of the original technical solution that makes your airboats float.
Technical, huh? Okay, got it. We just need to attach a giant propeller on top of the boats.
Okay, but how would you prevent the boat from spinning along with the propeller? And how would you control the direction of movement?
Jam 4:30 atau jam 4 harus.
Paimon never realized flying was so complicated. It's always been second nature to Paimon.
Well, there might be an easier solution if we ditch the direction and speed control requirements.
Huh? Really?
Yeah, it involves starting at a high altitude and flying downwards at a rapidly increasing velocity.
Hey, that isn't flying. That's free falling.
Berapa? Ya ada entet.
The Steambird's Great Detective Herlock series is going to be published by Yai Publishing House, right?
Seems like it.
But the Steambird clearly doesn't need help with printing and distribution. Why don't they just publish it themselves?
You still have a lot to learn about the dark side of the publishing
Belum main
industry.
jauh.
Okay, you know it all. Go on then. Give Paimon one good reason why the Steambird can't publish its own novels when it already publishes a newspaper that's read all over to that.
Because the key to a successful light novel is
Uh-huh.
the illustrations.
What? No way! Try telling that to all the writers and editors in Tibet. They're the ones working their butts off coming up with ideas.
Maybe so, but the Yai Publishing House has all the best illustrators on their payroll, and poaching them can't be easy. Artists like Calx must be virtually impossible to contact without going through them.
Oh. Yeah, that's a fair point.
But there's another reason too. Only works published by the Yai Publishing House make it into Genius Invocation TCG crossovers.
Huh? Paimon never knew!
That's the deepest, darkest secret of the publishing industry. It's not about stories anymore. It's about products and how to commercialize them.
That's just sickening. So apparently, some detectives in Fontaine manage to solve cases without ever setting foot outside their homes. They call them armchair detectives. That's what they call working from home, right? Sounds pretty cushy. Still, how do they figure out the truth if they never even go to the crime scene? Oh, Paimon knows! They must be using divination.
You're thinking of fortune tellers, Paimon, not detectives.
Oh, yeah.
In any case, surely the evidence isn't just dropping itself off at the detective's doorstep.
You mean... Oh, the detective must have people collecting information for them!
Perhaps. Or maybe they post commissions at the Adventurers Guild?
Huh? But that would mean the detective gets all the credit for our hard work. Oh, bet they make a tiny sum of more off it, too. Paimon won't stand for that! Let's go have a little talk with Detective Armchair right now! At the Fontaine Research Institute, they research clockwork and different energy sources, right? So how come there are rumors about a mystery treasure? It'd make more sense if the treasure was owned by a bandit or a pirate. But Paimon's not sure that the researchers and technicians' definition of treasure is really mysterious enough to get excited about.
What about researcher by day, bandit by night? Does that sound mysterious enough?
Well, for starters, it sounds exhausting. Imagine finishing your day job, then working a whole other job at night. When would they get time to rest?
Maybe they wouldn't need to rest if they were actually a clockwork mecha in disguise.
Ah, a mystery treasure left by a clockwork mecha who's a researcher by day and a bandit by night? Oh, now that sounds more like it.
Udah selesai cepet amat.
Detective stories like Great Detective Herlock and the case files of Miss Orith are really popular in Fontaine.
They're also pretty complex. Can you even follow the plot?
Don't you underestimate Paimon? If Paimon read any of those novels, she'd definitely solve the mystery before she's even halfway through!
Okay, well, if you do, then keep it to yourself. You don't want to spoil the story for anyone else.
Paimon would never do that.
Although, you also have to watch out for people who use no spoilers as an excuse to shut down discussions, when the truth is, they're just annoyed that a story they can't stand is getting so much attention.
Huh. Well, Paimon doesn't read much, so she wouldn't know anything about that kind of thing.
You see it a lot when two fans of Onibudo get talking. Someone will butt in and say something like, "Stop, don't spoil it for me.
Stop.
I'm only up to chapter 2 of volume 1.
Chapter 2? Yeah, clearly they have no intention of reading any further.
Hey, Paimon, you want to hear a secret?
Sure.
Listen carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Zhongli is Rex Lapis.
Hah?
Crazy twist! Why would you spoil? Oh, wait a second. We figured out that one ages ago.
Hah? Tahu dari dulu. Apa sih?
Pro tip. While we're in Fontaine, if someone ever picks a fight with you, you should never fight back unless there are witnesses around.
Huh? Why's that?
Because without any evidence, the court will probably reject your claim of self-defense, and they'll just rule that it was an intentional street fight.
Okay, and then what?
Well, if that happens, you'll almost certainly end up having to do it before you're put to trial. At that point, you'll either have to fight the same person all over again, or go head-to-head with their champion duelist.
Paimon just feels bad for whoever has to fight you.
Ada. Bagus.
Pretty crazy how things that happened only yesterday show up in today's issue of the Steambird. Even stuff that happened late at night, way outside the city, makes it in. How do they manage to get these articles written up so quickly?
Yeah, not to mention printed first thing in the morning.
Paimon gets it! There must be a magic printer at the Steambird's office. As soon as the reporters bring in the latest news, they feed it to the printer and it goes nom 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 nom, gobbling all the writing up, ready to spit it back out when it's printing time. They probably have some reporters bursting in through the doors at the last minute yelling, "Wait! There's one last article to feed to the printer!"
That's definitely a very compelling image. But as far as I know, magic printers like that don't exist. It's all thanks to the tireless work of the editing team that the Steambird gets printed on
Halo
time
bang, halo
every
bro.
day.
Malam-malam.
They sit there going,
Malam tuan. Tuan.
oh
Tuan.
no. As they race through correcting
Lalu,
spelling
bro.
errors, then they squeeze it all into neat
Lala,
vertical
ini.
columns of text and run to their colleagues shouting, "Just give me 5 more minutes, please!" That's the real magic behind meeting publishing deadlines.
Whoa. It's pretty amazing that they're able to make a whole newspaper in just one day. Do they ever get time to sleep?
Ya, nanya kapan tidurnya. Lalu bro. Halo Hili, halala hulu. Ngapain nih? Dengerin yappingannya Paimon. Jadi kan gini bro. Gini ya, gini. Si VA-nya Paimon sama Keqing itu nanti di next patch bakal diganti. Jadi karena gua pengen nyimpen arsipnya, bahasanya buat biar inget yappingan Paimon tuh kayak gimana. Jadi gue dengerin yappingan Paimon dari awal pakai bionya si MC ini sampai sekarang. Itu udah dari kemarin sih. Apa? Iya pernah denger. Emang kan dengar lagi. Memang nanti bakal udah dikonfirm juga sama si Koyonya. Bahkan udah baik berita-beritanya tuh bakal diganti tuh duaan tuh di next patch nanti katanya. Oh, alasannya cuma satu, biar nggak ada ini ya, biar nggak ada apa tuh, biar nggak ada yang suara kosong lah, atau alasannya. Ya lah, kan gue suka voice actor, gue suka doang, tapi nggak bisa apa tuh, nggak bisa jadi pendampingnya. Sedih. Tak punya bakat tapi hanya menyukainya saja. Soalnya kan English dub itu termasuk kayak part of life juga gitu. Dulu pas zaman-zaman gua masih sekolah, gua nonton anime dubbingan. Dan berapa pendampingnya tuh ada di game Genshin. Salah satunya yang kemarin gua gacain. Ini. Suaranya tuh kan ngisi berapa karakter yang gua apa tuh? Gua nonton juga kan. Dan juga berapa tone-nya nggak baik berubah. Itu sih bro.
Just the rules of the business. You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. Also, smoking, drinking, and causing a ruckus are all strictly prohibited within the boutique.
Kayaknya udah cukup lah.
That whole the
Kalau
customer
ada
is
yang
king
mantengin,
concept
lanjut
doesn't fly here.
ini.
And even
Lanjut
when
yang lain.
royalty does come into the shop,
Kalau nggak ada,
if they
kayak tadi
don't
lagi.
adhere to the rules, they'll find themselves being
Soalnya
tossed out and
menikmati
kissing the pavement just like
suara-suara
everyone else.
akhir gitu kan. Nanti akan terasanya ketika nanti udah diganti. Ketika orang taunya, wih, udah diganti nih. Gue saya pas kemarin kini juga gitu tarik. Cuma kalau sekarang karena yang pusatnya itu adalah Paimon sama ini bukan pusatnya tapi kayak yang pertama gue dapet B5 itu kan dari dia. Jadi ya udah masuk 80 aja nih. Oke, artinya kita lanjut building si yang tadi tuh siapa tuh? Chidori apa Cimori nih? Dikit lagi. Ya. Nanti kita balik lagi ke tempat tadi. Buat dengan yappingannya Paimon doang. Ayo. Gue harus pakai Keqing sih. Ya, tuh ada memorable momennya lah. Yuk, kita lanjut lagi.
Let's go. Time is against us.
Lawan.
Leave it all to me. I am the cutting edge of fashion. Incoming. Nowhere to hide. Got lucky that time. Hey! There is no escape. Next customer. Cut to the chase. Now you shall perish. Illusion shattered. As a good knight should. With sword comes shadow. Drops of code. Scatter! Lend me a hand. Steady as stone.
Malah mau entet beliau.
Succeed. Leave it all to me. Don't blink. Shine down.
Yuk.
Tacky. Illusion shattered. There is no escape. Speed of light. Cut to the chase. Torn to oblivion.
Buset dah, sampai malam. Langit pun boleh jadi gelap kagare. Oke. Ada Idi Uday. Nanti kalau ya pengen Pemain nanti gue pengen cari quest yang kaitan sama
Illusion shattered. I must leave no delicate as silk. Nowhere to hide. Time to clean up. I'll catch up. Incoming. Hey! Cut to the chase. Shine down. Inazuma shines eternal. That's going back in the wash. As a dutiful maid would. Disruptive code. Scatter! With sword comes shadow. I missed a spot. Torn to oblivion.
Wih, cepet. lagi mendengarkan Yappingnya Paimon. Itu nyampe mana ya? Waduh, malah ngelag. Malah ngelag. Di program anti respon. Nah, pertanyaan saya tuh ngerespon gak tuh? Pas program dah, restart lagi dah. Mati nyampingan tapi suruh restart. Ini sampai mana ya? Fonte. Yuk.
Have weirdly long names. This one's called Do Clockwork Mecha Dream of Cogwheel Chiropractors. But the writing style and themes are pretty different from Inazuma's light novels.
According to the synopsis, this novel is about a clockwork mecha experiencing back pain due to bending over for extended periods. It finally gives in, quits its job as an illustrator, then goes on a long journey looking for a chiropractor to cure its mechanical spine.
That actually sounds pretty interesting.
But why a chiropractor, though? Wouldn't an engineer do the job better? They could just go to the Fontaine Research Institute and save themselves the long journey.
Well, yeah, but having met some of the engineers from the Institute, Paimon could see why they wouldn't want to.
Oh yeah, that's true. But anyway, even though the protagonist of the story is a clockwork mecha, you can still tell that it was written by a human. Imagine if they got a real clockwork mecha to write a novel. I wonder what they'd write about.
How about this? I awoke one morning and found myself human.
Hey, that's a good one, Paimon.
Bagus.
The opera epiclese is used for both criminal trials and performances, so... Wait.
Huh? What's bothering you, Paimon?
Well, what if someone did a show about a criminal trial there? How would the audience be able to tell whether it's a real trial or not?
That's a very good question. Can you imagine the looks that the actor playing the criminal would get out on the street the following day? Everyone who recognized them would say, "Hey, weren't you the one on trial yesterday?"
Yeah, exactly! It would get so confusing!
The actor would constantly be telling everyone, "It was just a show, for goodness sake. Stop treating it like it's real."
Well, they know they have themselves to blame. What do they expect staging a show about a trial in the opera epiclese? Clearly they're just trying to confuse people. What a terrible idea!
Yeah, It is a terrible idea. What were you thinking, Paimon?
Wait, what? Nothing! Just what a terrible idea it would be if someone came up with that idea. Fanta tastes amazing, don't you think?
Fanta,
Yep,
Venti.
it's so refreshing, especially when you down the whole thing in one big gulp.
Can you buy a glass for Paimon? Paimon's always wanted to try that thing.
What thing?
Just buy it, you'll see in a minute. Go, 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 go. That's what those drunkards do after they clink their glasses together. Paimon's been itching to try it for ages.
Don't imitate them, Paimon. It's not a good look on you.
Whatever task they're programmed to do. So basically, they can do whatever you tell them to.
Got another bright idea, Paimon?
Yep. Paimon needs a commission handling Gardamek, a material harvesting Gardamek, and a domain exploring Gardamek. Ooh, and a gourmet chef Gardamek too! Then we can sit back and enjoy our new fully automated lifestyle.
They're extremely expensive to own and operate, though. And don't forget there's maintenance and repair costs as well. Okay, let me do some quick napkin math here. Using a Gardamek, the average cost to harvest a single mint would come to around 6,300 mora.
What? Oh, that's eye-wateringly expensive. Suddenly, Paimon feels like we adventurers don't get paid enough for the high-value work we do. Fontaine's underwater world is so pretty. There's so many kinds of fish that Paimon's never seen before.
If only we could swim underwater in other places too.
Yeah, it's a real shame. If you could go diving anywhere you wanted, where would you choose?
Probably either Liyue Harbor or Guyun Stone Forest.
Ooh, great idea! There's gotta be some sunken ships around there full of treasure! We could make a fortune.
Oh, there's also Sangonomiya Shrine in Inazuma. The view underwater must be stunning around there. So what about you, Paimon? Where would you go?
Let Paimon think. Well, since you already chose places in Liyue and Inazuma, Paimon's gonna go for Cider Lake!
Not a bad choice. But you gotta be careful. Because just when you're swimming along, minding your own business...
Yeah?
Suddenly, you notice something slowly sinking in front of you.
Huh?
It's round and chubby with a red and white pattern on its surface. The moment you realize what it is, you know it's already too late.
A Jumpy Dumpty!
Boom!
And Paimon goes flying into the sky. There seems to be a lot of eccentric artists in the court of Fontaine. Apparently, they often stage artistic performances at the Opera House, too. The people of Fontaine sure place a lot of importance on the arts. Guess that's why they call it the City of the Arts. It's nothing like Sumeru, where people had to do their performances in secret.
You're pretty into the arts, huh?
Of course! Paimon's pretty much a connoisseur.
Okay, so what makes something art in your opinion?
Well, art should be something that's out of the ordinary. Something that sparkles like the stars at night.
By that definition, I have a work of art following me around wherever I go.
Huh? Wait! You don't mean Paimon, do you?
Yup, and now that I think about it, you should consider doing a performance sometime. Paimon, live at the Opera House. I bet a lot of people would go see that.
No way! Not gonna happen! You know what's strange? Clockwork mecha are extremely intricate, and yet people regularly manage to fix them just by whacking them a few times. How does that work?
I guess if a gear or drive shaft comes loose, sometimes whacking it or giving it a shake is enough to make the parts latch back onto each other.
Huh? Paimon didn't follow that.
Well, simply put, if the mecha isn't actually broken, a little tap can nudge the parts back into the right places. But on the other hand, if one of the parts is damaged, then no amount of whacking is ever gonna fix it.
Oh, so it's like knocking sense into people. It works fine as long as they've got a brain and they're just having a dumb moment. But if they're a total airhead, there's nowhere for the sense to go. Wait, why are you staring at Paimon's forehead?
Don't worry, I'm not gonna whack you in the head. It wouldn't work anyway.
Well, that's a relief. Wait, hey!
Lanjut.
So, there's this place in Fontaine called the Fortress of Meropide. Was it named after someone called Meropide?
I've never heard anything about that, but you could be right.
Paimon's kinda envious. Having a village
Dirk.
named after you must be an amazing feeling. When you have the time, can you build something in your Serena teapot and name it the Fortress of Paimon?
Sure. In fact, I can do one better. I'll build it in downtown Fontaine.
Really? But surely that'd be way too expensive. Are you sure you can afford it?
Oh, absolutely. It won't actually cost that much.
Wow. You're so generous. So what are you gonna build?
I was thinking a cozy little clay bungalow with a wood burner for underfloor heating, a waterbed, a few chopped onions, salt and pepper, some greens, and,
Hey! Ugh, you're unbelievable. Can't we get through one nation without you cracking this stupid joke? Paimon's heard that the earliest clockwork components ever invented actually work on a very simple principle. You take a long object made from durable material, bend it, and wait for it to return to its original shape. As it rebounds, you can use the energy it gives off to power gears and stuff. And then you basically have an engine.
A long object made from a durable material. You know what that reminds me of? Cryo and pyro regisvines, don't you think?
Ooh, of all the things you could have thought of, why those two? But come to think of it, the Regisvines are pretty good at whipping their stalks around.
And they're really strong, too. If you let them charge up their energy and swing at you, they'll knock down anyone in their path. Even me. And we both know how strong I am.
So, are you saying that you could turn the Regisvines into a clockwork mechanism?
Well, think about it. Since cryo and pyro life forms are highly incompatible, if we put them both next to each other at a slight incline so their necks are tilted towards one another, they'd spin non-stop to avoid touching each other. It would be the world's most powerful clockwork mechanism. Once we found a way to harness it, it would generate enough energy to power most of the machines in Fontaine.
Oh, yeah, you're right! This is a genius idea! Eat your heart out, Fontaine Research Institute! All we need to do now is find a way to bring the Regisvines to Fontaine, put them in position, and... Wait a sec. How the heck are we gonna get those overgrown ferns to Fontaine?
As soon as we've tackled the minor issues of practicality and 'How about we explore the details ahead of us later?
nanti.
Paimon thought we'd be saying goodbye to the amazing cafes after we left Sumeru. But it seems like people in Fontaine are big coffee drinkers too.
They sure are. Even the newspapers run articles about how great coffee is at keeping you awake and alert, and at boosting your energy levels, so you can keep performing at peak efficiency during a long working day.
Whew. Any job where you need coffee to stay energized must be exhausting. Like, blacksmiths? Maybe chefs too. Oh, and adventurers. They're always running around all over the place. Hey, and what about divers?
Divers, huh? That's definitely the odd one out here. How are divers supposed to drink coffee when they work underwater the entire time?
Yeah, that's a good question. They can't take off their helmets underwater, so they'd probably have to shut themselves inside an even bigger glass box and drain all the water out before they can finally drink their coffee. Probably from a bottle. No, wait. If the coffee's already in a bottle, all they need is a long straw that goes from the bottle into their helmet. Then they'd be able to take a sip of coffee whenever they want.
Ew. But then the coffee would go cold. Cold coffee is just gross. With the important
Mana
exception
enak.
of iced coffee. But that's its own thing.
Well, that's no problem. They could just bring a stove with them underwater. You seen the kind of stove that most people use in Fontaine, right? It only has one small opening at the top. As long as that's sealed nice and tight, it won't go out, even underwater. Wait a second. No way. Is that? That's it? That must be the whole reason stoves in Fontaine are made that way!
Ding, ding, ding. Right answer. That is indeed the reason behind the design of the Fontaine-style stove.
Paimon's the smartest. Hey, how about we open an underwater cafe? Paimon bets there's lots of divers out there craving some coffee while they're down in the depths.
Wait,
Yeah, this could be a huge opportunity for us. Once we open the world's first ever underwater cafe, the Mora will come rolling in. Heck, and why stop at cafes? The ocean's our oyster. We could build a whole shopping mall down there, then a whole underwater business district. It's gotta be the best feeling in the world making Mora through your very own stroke of business genius.
Just one thing, okay? Don't go taking out a loan in my name.
Steamboat's head office is in Fontaine, right? Paimon wonders what stories make it into their newspapers. Do you think they reported on our adventures with Devalin? Or our duel with the Raiden Shogun? Oh, and everything that happened at the Academia?
I'm sure they cover just about everything that goes on. It's more of a question of where it would appear. They probably have different sections reserved for different topics.
Oh, well in that case, we must make it onto the front page all the time! Surely that's where all the most exciting stories go!
I'm not so sure. We might have made front page news once or twice, I guess. But I wouldn't be surprised if the headlines focus mostly on hit new operas or well-known actors. You know, stuff like, Actor X spotted drinking coffee on street. Actor Y goes public about new relationship. Or Actor Z to retire from performing.
Why would they fill the best page with stuff like that? It's completely pointless!
Well, trivial maybe, but not pointless. Those are the stories that grab people's attention and convince them to buy the paper to get all the details.
Fine. Well, maybe we'll be on the first few pages then. Surely they've got to put some real news in there, and it's got to be interesting enough to keep people reading after they've gotten their dose of celebrity gossip, right?
The first few pages cover positive local news stories in the court of Fontaine. Things like food and commodity prices going down, or progress updates on the Aquabus expansions. They put these reports at the most prominent locations inside the newspaper. The point of them is mostly just to kill time. What goes on at the Academia might be important, but it doesn't directly impact the lives of people in Fontaine.
Huh? So, where would they put our stories then?
I'd guess on the very back page after everything else.
Oh, why so far back?
I think they call it saving the best till last. The editors probably embellished things a lot to flesh the story out, then break it into several chunks to make it into a series that runs over several days.
Alright, so what's the point of the final page then?
It gives the newspaper its raison d'être.
Paimon was not expecting to see Clockwork Mecha dancing. As dangerous as it is to get too close to them, it sure is nice to watch them from a distance. Imagine if they had ones that could sing and play musical instruments too! That'd be really cool.
Then you'd just need some mecha for the audience, and you'd have a show by mecha for mecha.
Somehow that's a pretty scary thought. Anyway, mecha are meant to do stuff, not sit there and watch a show. Oh, how about mecha that can paint? Paimon bets their paintings would look just like photos taken with a camera.
Sounds like you could just use a camera.
Oh, right, yeah, Paimon's brain
Mintanya lebih dari sekali ya.
What about you? If you could make a clockwork mecha do anything at all, what would it be?
Travel guiding perhaps? Bleep blorp, this is your guidebot speaking. Please go straight on at the next crossroads. Bloop blurp.
Paimon's just remembered how much training you need before you can own a clockwork mecha, and how expensive they
Dikit
are.
lagi nih.
Also, who knows if they even work outside of Fontaine?
Ini pas bagian apa tuh?
The best travel guide into that will not
Bagian
lose her job to some
Atlan.
machine.
Biarin aja tuh.
At least not yet.
Nyampe di air mancur. Bisa. Jadi air mancur ya. Ini berarti.
There always seems to be people throwing Mora into the
Dikit
fountain on
lagi.
Aranias.
Yeah, supposedly the fountain fairies listen to people's wishes. That's probably how the custom began.
Huh. So even fountain fairies need Mora? Whoa. They must be living the dream. All they need to do is find a fountain to live in and they're all set. No need to work. Just sit back and wait for people to literally throw for it to you.
I don't think that's quite how it works. You have to grant wishes, remember?
Oh, okay, well. Oh, young traveler, your wishes have been heard. Which lost sword is it that you seek? The dull blade or the silver sword?
They both look like trash, to be honest.
Just choose one.
Oh, fair maiden of the fountain, neither of these swords is mine, and neither do I desire. For what I seek is my lost travel companion.
Huh? You are a sneaky one, young traveler. Okay then, the fountain fairy shall grant your wish and become your best travel companion ever.
Dikit lagi, bro.
Operas in Fontaine come in so many different genres. Historical, myths and legends, even fairy tales and modern romances.
And lots of adventure stories, too.
Oh yeah, like Tancred and Chericles. Oh, Tancred, you fool! If only you'd recognized Chericles before it was too late!
Apparently, the story's based on true events.
Ooh! Does that mean that there'll be opera adaptations of our adventures one day? We've been through so many adventures together, there's gotta be a scriptwriter out there who's interested in taking our story to the stage! And they won't have to worry about crafting the perfect tragedy either! Everyone loves a happy ending, right?
Oh, how about we get a head start and assign voices to ourselves?
Paimon thinks you have a baritone voice. What do you think Paimon should be?
Remind me, what's that shrill voice that most prima donnas have?
Oh, you must be thinking of a color tourist soprano. Hey!
Akhir.
People in the city keep telling us how Palais Mermonia is a super stressful place to work. But when we went to see it for ourselves, it seemed like hardly anyone works there. And the few people who do work there were hardly working. In fact, they looked like they didn't have a care in the world. What part of working there is supposed to be so stressful exactly?
Maybe the work they carry out is essential but insignificant.
How can something be both of those things at the same time?
Well, okay, so imagine that one day you suddenly forgot how to fly and fell to the ground.
That'll never happen. Flying's a piece of cake for Paimon.
Probably not, but just in case, we should make sure there's a cart loaded with cushions ready to catch you at all times. The cart would have to be designed to withstand any environment and weather conditions, and the cushions would need to be soft enough to break your fall gently. It would need to be built from the sturdiest timber and strongest rope, and packed with plenty of medical supplies and snacks, and all because keeping Paimon safe and sound is absolutely essential.
You really mean that? Aw, thanks! But there's really no need to go to all that trouble. Paimon's been flying for a really long time. There's no way Paimon's gonna suddenly drop out of the air, so you don't need to worry about it.
See? That's why it's insignificant. If it ever did happen, the consequences would be disastrous. Hence why it's essential to be prepared. But practically speaking, the chances of it happening are next to nothing. So it's insignificant at the same time. If someone in the Palais Mermonia was assigned a task like that, it'd be up to them to decide how busy they want to get. chances are they'd probably just sit back and do nothing.
But what if Paimon really does forget how to fly one day? What's gonna happen when Paimon falls to the ground?
I'll be here to catch you no matter what. Because you're not essential but insignificant. You're the best travel companion ever.
Bagus. Buat terakhirnya dapat. Buat sekarang. Nanti bagian ini Netral nanti aja. Apa lagi ya? Sip. Suaranya nggak ada si Keqing. undangan Kim Jong Lee.
Stop! What's all this about?
Lady Keqing, these two strange people suddenly appeared. They seem to have designs on the Guizhong ballista.
Who are you calling strange?
Hmm? You want to go to the Jade Chamber? Who are you?
We're invited guests here to look for the Liyue Qixing. Who are you?
Well, as it happens, I am one of the Liyue Qixing.
Oh,
I'm Keqing, the Yuheng of the Qixing. I know of you, traveler. You're Ningguang's guests, yes? Didn't expect to meet you here in the mountains.
wow. Paimon didn't think we'd meet some super rich big shot out here in the middle of nowhere either.
The Guizhong Ballista in Tianheng Pass has long been in disrepair, and yet it was fixed in a
Seperti kayak
single
diantah
night.
berantah.
I came here to investigate that occurrence. These Millilith are just here to guard the scene, not to arrest anyone.
So this was all a misunderstanding? Paimon never would have thought.
Anyway, for a mortal to be able to repair an Adepti mechanism is quite the mystery, even to the Qixing.
That was... Huh? Oh, right. So, Lady Yuheng, might you have any idea why Lady Tianquan invited us to go to the Jade Chamber?
Just call me Keqing. I'd say that Ningguang's purpose is to request that the savior of Mondstadt take a more neutral stance, or at least to not wholly side with the Adepti.
We're not taking sides. We spoke with the Adepti. They want to protect Liyue as well.
When you say protect, you're referring to their sanctimonious arrogance, aren't you?
Huh?
You are mortals and thus under their protection. There was no way they would have regarded you as someone with the ability to assassinate a god. Naturally, they would also regard Ningguang's locking down the area, questioning the citizenry, and pursuit of the assassin to be pointless work. Perhaps they even wonder if there might be a cover-up. I'll say it like it is. They're underestimating us.
Well, you've got a point there. Still, this is the first time Paimon's seen a person from Liyue who doesn't respect the gods or the Adepti.
Should I respect the shallow sense of time and condescension to mortals that has caused them to delay in moving against us, Qixing? Forget it. I shouldn't speak of them this way. This skepticism is mine alone, and Ningguang does not share it. Either way, I will admit that the actions of the Adepti this time were quite restrained. Rex Lapis's death is indeed an extraordinary circumstance. But to think that they would call for a council of Adepti rather than come down here directly. How surprisingly civilized of them. Well, for Ningguang, she would talk anything and everything out if she could. But I doubt we can do that here. The time of the Adepti has long passed. If even the Liyue Qixing don't want to face that truth, then what future is there for Liyue?
Another super bold statement.
I'll stop here. Honestly, I hadn't intended to say so much. But you're a good listener, traveler. You should both be off to the Jade Chamber. Don't be late now. Ningguang's schedule is packed to the gills all the way till next year. The cream of Liyue's mercantile crop all see ascending to the Jade Chamber as the greatest honor. Each brings rich gifts as they visit, all to curry a little favor with Ningguang.
Favor? But... Wait, that's right! Greeting gifts are a staple of Liyue's culture! We need to get one! Not to curry favor or anything, just to respect Liyue's culture.
All right. You can decide on your greeting gift yourselves. Let me tell you how to get to the Jade Chamber first. You didn't actually have to come to Mount Tianheng. Go back to Liyue Harbor. Find a guide at the Yuehai Pavilion, and... Well then. May we meet again, traveler.
Well, that Yuheng may not respect the gods, but Paimon thinks she's a pretty cool person. So, what should we give to Ningguang when we see her? Oh, right! Paimon dreamed of an amazing snack last night! Sugar-frosted slime! Paimon has a feeling that it would be perfect for a super rich person like Ningguang. Why don't we go with that for a gift? Nope! But Paimon's sure that we just need to make it with some boom shakalaka. Let's go gather ingredients. Time waits for no one, and neither will our riches.
Coba pengen nyerisin Keqing doang.
Da 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 da.
Person Legend. Jangan dengar.
Each of the 7 nations has its own scars from the past. Traveler.
Yikes! She really is looking our way!
Is that the traveler who they say defeated the ancient god?
So young.
The Liyue Qixing always repay their debts. And as you have heard, our eyes see far and our reach is long. Name your price. You deserve that much.
Well, could you help me put up some missing person posters?
As for the...
Well, could you...
Why you? Were you just trying to look cool earlier, or are you really that selfless? If you were looking for someone, you could have just told me that in private.
banyak deh. Hah. Kabut sih. Pane halo bang, halo bro. Halo halah Laili. Dihele halah. Oke. Jadi ngapain? Lagi gabut. Soalnya udah masuk jam ngantuk ini sebetulnya. Gua Instagram aja kali. Nanggung. Ah nggak apa-apa lah. Udah dengerin semua ini lah. Yappingan si Paimon. Yappingan si Keqing. Iya. Ya udah sih. Gue kirain bakal nyampe pagi loh. Ternyata tidak. Sampai jam segini doang. Jadi biar gue bisa main sebelah. Akun sebelah. Yaudah. Nanti gue kayak segini aja. Makasih buat semuanya. Dan sampai tinggal untuk kayaknya Keqing dan juga Paimon harus diganti sayangnya. Mau gak mau demi konten. Maaf bro. Gue datang tapi harus dah. Ya mau gimana, gue dari tadi streaming dari jam berapa? Dari jam 10 sih. Udah baru juga baru 2 jam sih. Capain good. Kita tutup sama. Yalah.
Morning. Time to set the tone for the rest of the day. So if you're still feeling sleepy, shake it off.
Bangun.
I'm not in the habit of napping at noon, but don't let that stop you if you're feeling tired. I'll give you a wake-up call in, say, 3 minutes time.
Menit.
The lights are coming on now that the night is setting in. Another delightful day draws to a close.
Okay. And bye-bye.
Sleep well. Me? I still have a handful of things on my to-do list, but I'll call it a night once they're done.
Dan. And then see you next time. Bye. Makasih Bu ya. Aduh, mohon maaf nih ya. Aku sudahan. Udah capek. dari jam 2:30 belum ikut di channel sebelah. Nah, jadi izinkan saya untuk istirahat dulu ya. Wes. Nanti besok gue stream. Kalau ada waktu, kalau mau.